You are just like your father.
You got silent boxes down though.
The way you feel when you hear that phrase can take you in two very different directions. Some would be proud to hear it and feel like they're living up to the example of good that they were raised with. Others may see it as an insult. They saw exactly what they didn't want to be and became it anyway. If someone told me that I was just like my father, I'd feel a mix of emotions. I was fortunate to have both good and bad father figures in my life, each shaping the view of who I wanted to be like and who I didn't. I was young when my parents divorced. Too young to remember it really, but even then, my earliest memories included two dads. What felt confusing at first now feels like a gift. I know what it feels like to have a birthday forgotten, and the phone doesn't ring. But I also know the joy of a birthday never missed, and always celebrated. From one, I experienced the disappointment of absence, and from the other, I learned the power of being present and putting in the work. I don't think I'd be who I am today without that contrast, because it made me understand that every choice I make is quietly shaping the future for my son. How I treat his mom, how I handle challenges, how I show up every day and live my life. Those moments, they're not just for me, they're for him. I believe actions speak louder than words, especially when you're raising a family. I want my son to see me living fully and going after my goals so that when his turn comes, he has a calling to pursue his. And so he knows that having both dreams and responsibilities doesn't have to be an either-or situation. A dream of mine was to travel across the country on a motorcycle, camping under the stars and being in the wild, riding my own path. Halfway through that trip, I arranged for my wife and son to fly out and join me. It wasn't about them seeing where I'd been, but about sharing that journey with them.
Is this awesome, dude?
I'm intentional about my son being a part of my dreams, giving him a front row seat to when limits are pushed and standards are broken. Having kids doesn't mean you stop dreaming. If anything, it's more of a reason to live those dreams out loud so they know what's possible. And it doesn't mean you idle by and stop growing. They're watching you, whether you realize it or not, and they're figuring out who they want to be based on your actions. So someday, when my son is grown, and someone looks at him and says, "You're just like your father," I hope he's proud to look him in the eye and say, "You're damn right."